Hi there. So let me start by introducing Sven to you. Sven has been studying at Howest in cybersecurity, and he currently works at Accenture. I'll not say much more than that. I'll let the rest over to Sven to introduce himself, explain a little bit more about what he did at Accenture, and ask him some questions. But of course, all of you are allowed to ask some questions. The idea is that you actually ask some questions to Sven because he's a good witness of what you can do once you've studied at Howest, what the possibilities are and what his experiences are. So Sven, if you want to say a word more about yourself, your experiences at Howest.
Yeah, sure. Hey everybody, for who didn't see me last session, I'm Sven. I'm currently working as a security analyst for Accenture. Accenture is basically a multinational working, delivering solutions, technology solutions, offering services to management, giving guidance. We're a consultancy firm. And also, we are quite in depth in the field of security services. So yeah, that's me. I studied software and system engineer, I believe is it called now, at West from 2014 to 17. Got my diploma there, and afterwards had a shortened, let's say, traject for CCCP, where I did a year combined. So that's so far my studies. What I do in the daily life is I'm basically the glue between client and our internal teams, developing architecture, security architecture. What do I mean by that? Well, I deliver infrastructure security, make sure that all the components are securely connected to each other. I deliver application security, make sure that all applications we have on our infrastructure or that we are developing are secured, hardened, as we say. And also give general guidance on policies and such, data policies, data retention, how long do you keep your data on your systems, where, etc., etc. Next to that, I also do incident response and digital forensics, where the chance to, after an emergency at one of our clients, go there, figure out what happened when the hacker attacked, how they attacked, and everything by analyzing the artifacts we created previously. I think that's it, roughly.
Okay, thanks. Thank you very much, Sven. Are there at this moment any questions from the audience? Gene, I don't know whether we have to activate their microphones.
They can do that by themselves, or they can use the chat function.
Okay. Any question? I hear somebody's microphone. No question at the moment. Sven, how would you say that following your studies at Howest has influenced your chances of getting inside a prestigious company like Accenture?
Yeah, so that was very interesting. Again, I had the technical background from my SSE studies, but focused in the last year on cybersecurity. And what it gave me, even in a shortened trajectory, it gave me a good foundation, let's say, a good foundation on pretty much everything that we currently do at Accenture. It gave me the technical insights. It basically helped me to get information myself, which is also very important in these days, and basically prepared me for the job market. So I think after that year, I joined in September. So I had my last summer vacation, I joined Accenture, and the first thing I actually did was 1 month of a sort of deep dive into RDP hardening, which RDP is a remote desktop service, let's say, which is used by us on the Windows systems. And I had to basically make an analysis. So look, we have this infrastructure. What's there? What could be improved, and how could it be improved? And thanks to our the Windows lessons we had in our curriculum, and also the Linux lessons we had, I was able to provide already from the start a pretty good result, pretty good deliverable. So you again, the education is there to give you a good foundation on what's required in the job market, and that's what it really excels at this moment. I see people from other universities or colleges, and they do not go in depth as technically in depth as Howest does. So our organization is very happy to receive people from the West to perform internships at our organization. We hire every year people out of the West because we believe in the profile that West provides us. So, I mean, the keynote here is that you learn every day. Every day in your education, you will learn something new. But afterwards, if you have the foundation, it will be even more simple to learn new stuff. I don't think there goes a day by that I haven't learned anything at all. There's always something new. So yeah, and I mean, security is very broad. There's a lot of variety in there, which you can pick one topic you like, you fancy. You can go into depth quite deep, quite dramatically.
Sven, was this a job that you were specifically looking for at Accenture, or did you see other possibilities with studies which you did in cybersecurity at Howest?
Of course, I saw different opportunities where I could. The profile Howest creates is very asked for in the job market, is my feeling. So of course, I had multiple opportunities where I could go to different organizations and start there. It could be in Bruges, but it could be also in Brussels. It could be even international, because West delivers that profile that has a technical understanding, technical understanding of cybersecurity, which is still, even though more and more universities try to pick it up, is still quite unique in the markets. So absolutely, I had multiple contenders there.
And this may be a little bit tricky question, and I may be digging my own grave pit here, but what was the most interesting topic that you saw during the cybersecurity? And I want to focus a little bit on the cybersecurity courses, of course, because that's the topic of this session. But what was there most interesting, the most interesting there, and explain a little bit why also, if you want to.
Yeah, a big part is really the pen testing. That's what West is even known for in the job market a bit, because we did you deliver pen testing profiles. People that can actually pen test, that can help from the get-go pen test stuff for other companies. But my
Sven, if I can interrupt you just for a second there.
Sure.
Can you explain also a little bit what pen testing is? Because I'm not sure that all guests know what pen testing is. Of course,
testing,
for us, it's very easy, but...
Yes, pen testing, short for penetration testing, is basically trying to hack your application, your web application. See it as a website that's somewhere hosted on a web server, and you're trying to invade that web server, steal information, such as hackers do. So it's a real, we call it a red teaming, where our people go to organizations, different organizations, say, okay, we will test your application, ethical hacking. We have a contract, and all the variables are secured. but we will make sure to test how good is your application at defending against intruders. That's basically pen testing.
And did you do some of that during the studies live in a project, or?
Yes, indeed. We did it live. We even had a special class set up for it. So an environment where we could pen test all we wanted to. We had to sign a funny agreement on ethical pen testing, so that we are only allowed to pen test in that let's say environments and not outside, not hacking any public websites of the US or something, which is quite so we had a virtual lab which was quite awesome and really helped getting a hands-on experience. And it's thanks to the teachers it's that are still very active in the field. I think about Tail the Nerd, who is seen as an expert. He set up a lab, and it was quite impressive how real it is compared to day in, day out work for us. We have a specialized unit there in Prague who does most of our services in, let's say, the Europe region. There, where we even have the opportunity to send students to once a year. So we can send profiles from Howest to Prague, because we know they have some kind of background in pen testing, so they can even learn there let's say the ropes a bit. Next to that, I also had incident response, where we got the let's say the foundation for incident response. What is it? What does it mean? What's up for it? So that's one of another important lesson I took, which I'm applying even to these days. I believe I recently followed a training only based on the knowledge. It was a specialized training only based on the knowledge I had from back in the days, from the courses, and I was quite amazed how much it helped me understanding the techniques and such. So there was another one.
So you really got a good basis. Is there anything for the people present that you can speak about your current projects, maybe without naming any names and
sure.
staying pretty
no,
vague?
I cannot,
but I think people might be very interested in hearing, okay, you studied all these nice things and you enjoyed yourself a lot in all the labs which you had, and you reversed analyzed some hacker code and stuff like that. But what is it like in real life? Have you had any interesting project that you can talk in general of? I know
sure.
Because of all the rules, you can't talk about specific customer and name them. But if you can say something in general, that would be very nice.
Sure. There was last year in the summer, I believe, a quite unique project where a company got hacked. Basically, there was a breach in a company, and they somehow tried to stabilize the situation, but also do some kind of investigation on what happened. So incident response. And this situation was quite unique because we were in discussions with the client, obviously, to see what kind of service do we offer in that regard and how we offer it. And I believe I got on a Sunday morning or Sunday evening, I got the mail. I got a text message from one of my colleagues. Hey Sven, how do you feel about flying to Poland tomorrow? Which is, so it was really on emergency mode. We sat together on Monday with the client to talk about what we can do, and then next day, Tuesday, I took the plane to Poland, not knowing really exactly what the status was on their internal security team, because their security team of that client was also an international client, was located there. So I had to from basically home to Poland, the usual day. Had to fly there, everything was escalated. We had to calm everybody down, investigate, set everything up, set our programs up, set our communication up, set our strategy, which was quite unique. And I stayed there for I think till this Saturday, the next week, doing some nightly shifts, some day shifts, really crazy hours. But it was such an amazing hands-on experience that I would do it again any day of the year, because that was for me quite amazing. So for the day in, day out activities, next to that special project we had, I work on a project which delivers a platform for all distribution grid operators. What are those DGOs? Those are Iandis, Fluxys, such the gas, electricity, basically slash water in some cases. Where I'm basically a security architect. What do? I define solutions for deploying applications, how they talk to each other, how to set up the infrastructure, what to do. I'm doing quite a part of application security in there, seeing that everything connects correctly, that the applications are safe and such. Yeah, so I can only say it's quite a big of a variety going on every day. Every day I see a new technology that I have to somehow master, and it's super fun. Next to that, I also did for a year vulnerability management. Basically, I have to set up the deployment of a vulnerability scanner, like some people may know Nessus, who spots weak points in your infrastructure. And then conclude, make an overview, conclude, and investigate also what are these vulnerabilities, how can they be misused, how can we fix them. So I think that pretty much covers it.
So talking about the distribution grids, that's probably part of the NIS effort that they have to do, and NIS is like GDPR. It's something GDPR probably existed when you studied, but NIS didn't exist when you studied. So there's always new things popping up that you have to learn about.
Yeah, yes, obviously we're very close when it comes to Belgium. So it's a local project. It's a Belgium project. We are very heavily under fire of the GDPR. As always, there's always the question: okay, we have the solution. Is it GDPR compliant? We always adhere to that using our. So we, for example, the infrastructure is outsourced to a Belgium customer. The data never leaves Belgium and such. So I'm quite happy about it because there are more questions asked than when it wasn't there yet. So I'm quite happy about the GDPR. It's quite an interesting topic. I know colleagues of mine in the Netherlands especially have really set up and built a project for NIST GDPR to help clients achieve a positive status because it's not always that strict. It's not black and white. You cannot perform a black and white. You have to somehow make it gray. So yeah, I think that's always in the day to day. It's one of the topics that I wrestle with.
Interesting. I got a question in the meantime. Somebody asked, what did you do for your thesis? Your bachelor thesis.
Oh yeah.
Can you explain it? And can you explain a little bit more about that? I think that can be quite interesting.
What's the bachelor thesis? It's basically the product you deliver to prove that you're capable, that you have the basic knowledge of security. In this case, for CCCP. In my case, it was for SSE. About software and system engineering, right? It's something you procure yourself, you make yourself. And it also integrates some kind of research into a topic. Most often, it even delivers a project on a special technology, let's say, that somehow advances it. I did my bachelor thesis on WebRTC in 2017, I believe. 2017. WebRTC, for if someone does not know it, it's basically audio, video via HTTP via the browser. In that case, I programmed or did some research into latency, how to indicate bad or good communications, because that was there. We had a peer-to-peer setup, so that was quite unique. Me testing, developing some kind of testing framework for a WebRTC, which was quite intriguing. I did my internship at a small company, a startup, which I still have contact with, which is quite good. And where I also identified that I wanted to dive deeper into security, because next to the question WebRTC, okay, it's nice and fine, but how do you secure it, right? How are you sure not somebody does not listen to it? So I focused on that one afterwards. The thesis, again, in itself is a product you procure yourself, you make yourself. You are guided by first your mentor at the company itself, and also from West, someone who will teach you the ropes, who will guide you in that process. Is that so? Your thesis was a secure, yeah, indeed. No, my thesis was more about, as I said, about the connectivity. But after that, indeed, I deep dived into the possibility of hardening it, because at the time WebRTC was used by some smaller applications emerging. It was emerging at the point. Documentation wasn't always, let's say, on point. But yes, indeed, I saw since the last 2 years, I saw steady increase there. Last 3 years, nearly, I saw a steady increase in the questions around it. Questions, so how do we secure it and such. So I don't know if that answers your question, Robert.
Yep. It seems it does. Probably one of the last questions for you, Sven, that I have personally. What did you study? What was your secondary school, and what was the focus in your secondary school before you started? Because I know a lot of people are worried. Do I know enough math? Do I know enough programming already when I start?
So I in my secondary school, I followed the normal what they call ASO. So I'm not sure how you translate that, but it's
general secondary education.
Yeah, general. You would say it with a focus on math. In the end, which is totally not needed. Math is being used as more practical a tool to get to the answer result in that sense in the applied sciences here at the West, which was totally fine. I had lots of colleagues who did not follow general but they education, but they studied more the praxis oriented, studied IT so had some previous experiences when they started to study at West. But for my part, I didn't know much about it. I just took the summer before I began. I looked up some tutorials on what is HTTP, HTML, how to make a website and such. So not really. In the first year, you are very much let's say supported by the teachers on how to acquire knowledge and such, and how to build a foundation that builds up in the other 2 years. So I would not worry at all.
So it does help to have a little bit of a background in math and programming, I would probably say, but it's not really necessary.
No. I mean, I've heard from other people who studied cybersecurity going more. I mean, cybersecurity is very big. Again, you do not have to be technical to perform it. I had people from political sciences. They studied political sciences. They're currently working in cybersecurity. They're going more about policies and stuff. This is also an important part. So I don't see a reason why you have to meet some requirements for cybersecurity there. If you have a fresh mindset, you understand the basics of IT, let's say, and the rest will be taught by the lecture.
Yeah, so to answer the other question from Robert, do we learn the basic of the coding languages in the first year? Yeah, you actually start with some basic, and one of the first languages that you learn about, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sven, is Python, which is actually pretty easy to use. You can use it in a script, so you immediately see what the result is. You can write simple code, but you can also write very advanced code with Python. And you do learn other languages as well. But I think one of the first languages you start with, because it's so easy to use actually, is Python, isn't it?
Indeed. In my time, it was still a C#, I believe.
Okay.
But they moved indeed to Python. I heard it last year from Kurt that they moved to Python. Yeah, but Python is actually quite a good option for especially for CCCP, because it heavily relies on it. Most of the scripts I see that somehow do something, let's say pen testing, but also checking on network security are Python based.
When Sven says, by the way, for all of you still listening, talks about CCCP, that stands for compute. What was it again?
Computer cybercrime professional.
Cybercrime professional and computer and cybercrime professional. And we changed that for the English course. We actually changed that to applied computer science with a major in cybersecurity.
Okay.
To make it a little bit easier. CCCP sounds almost like the former Russian states. So actually, major cybersecurity probably says a little bit more. I'll also explain a little bit more about the whole program, but I think actually it was very useful that you already explained a lot about this. But I'll explain a lot more about the program at the session at 3 o'clock, which you can also find on the English welcome page for the open days. So 3 o'clock, there is a session where I explain about the program, where Kurt Kallewaard will also say a little bit about the research that's being done there, and where you can ask specific questions about the program. Is there at this time anybody who wants, either using the microphone or using the chat, has more questions for Sven? Might be about what he does at Accenture, or what he liked at Howest. Did you like studying in Bruges, by the way? Because these are international students, Sven. So
yeah, I'm very.
Or are you from Bruges, and are you prejudiced?
Yeah, of course. I'm very opinionated because I'm from Bruges myself.
Okay.
I know that they had a similar education at Ghent, which I did not choose for because they did not deliver that technical insight that I saw at West. West delivered a better foundation in the past, in the recent years. So that I even during my studies met people from Ghent University who did an extra year here just to get the grip of, for example, the cybersecurity major, which was quite unique. So yeah, it's really easy integrating into West. Yeah, I mean, I'm from Bruges. Bruges is, they call it, it's a nice dark age town, huh? With the charming
it's
environment.
on the World Heritage List from UNESCO, so it's also a beautiful city. Those attending my presentation will be shown a couple of nice pictures. Not that you can't find them on the internet, but I want to make things easy for the people. If they're still doubting whether it's nice studying in Belgium, and specifically in Bruges, I think Bruges is probably, and I'm from Antwerp, and probably Belgians know this, but if you're from abroad, you don't know this. But people from Antwerp normally think that everything centers around Antwerp, and that the rest of Belgium is actually a parking spot just to get to Antwerp. But I have to say, I've been to Bruges several times, and Bruges is one of the really, really, really nicest cities in Europe. I've been all around in Europe, and I think Bruges is really one of the nicest cities that you can find in Europe. If you want to come and study in Belgium, and you're still doubting where should I go and study in this town or in this town, I think you definitely should choose Bruges.
Indeed.
Okay, this brings us to the half hour. Are there any questions left, either through chat or verbally? I'll give that like 30 seconds so that people can gather their courage to ask a question.
Maybe for Robbe, do you also learn more advanced languages? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I think if it's still applicable, it's C#. It's the whole .NET framework actually, because everybody receives a certain baseline, so you understand coding, let's say, which really helps, and then the day-to-day job as a security.
Yeah, and there are others, I think, JavaScript and some other modern languages. Oh yes, Robert, you learned about SQL injections.
Yes, you do.
Actually, you probably missed one of the sessions about hacking and reverse engineering with Tijl de Neut. I don't know whether that one was in English. That was probably in Dutch, I think, because. But I'll show you. It's not an SQL injections, sadly enough, but I'll show you in my presentation at 3 o'clock a couple of things that we've been doing or we're going to do during the courses. So and SQL injection is definitely one of them, but it's not there as a demo, sadly enough. But we'll talk. If we forget about that, we would be very bad indeed. Okay. As we're slowly getting over time, and I don't know whether other people will need this channel soon, I'm gonna close off. Thank you very much, Sven. I mean, it was nice having you here and doing this presentation. I hope everybody still online is convinced now that they need to choose for this session. Thank you all, and hope to see you in the session at 3 o'clock.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.